Krista, welcome to 88 Stitches.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when I tell everyone that I'm so excited to have you on this week, I truly mean that.
I appreciate that.
For anyone at home that might not know Krista King, Krista actually played with my sister, Francesca.
Yes.
But we also played against each other in college.
We did.
And I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. But Krista is also, maybe was also, a lefty slapper, which I think is such a unique world of itself. It's something that I really want to dive into a little bit later on too. And I think your accolades and your accomplishments in this sport is something that I admire a lot, and I'm just really excited to get to know you better.
Thanks.
So yeah.
I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yep, that's it. Good. Keep that up. Nice. That's it. Good job. Keep that up. Good. One more. Pick these up.
I guess where I would love to start is just like your childhood of softball, because I think that sets the stage up for any softball player out there.
Yeah.
It really impacts who you are as a person, as a player on the field. Tell me a little bit of a glimpse. Like let's go back to younger Krista.
Yeah.
What did your softball experience growing up look like? How did you get started and all that?
So it's funny, I had to tap my dad in for this one because I was like, Dad, I know I started playing at 5, but like I don't remember how, why.
Yeah.
So he had told me, he's like, when I was like 4, he would just throw wiffle balls to me in the yard, and he's like, you had pretty good hand-eye coordination, so when you were 5, I was going to sign you up for t-ball.
Yeah.
Because that's really where everybody starts.
Yeah.
And one of the other girls' dads in the town was like, no, sign her up for 7-8 softball.
Oh, okay.
And my dad was like, but she's 5. And he was like, no, don't worry, it's not that competitive. So when I was 5, I started with 7-8 softball. And then from there, it just kind of
took off.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you, at the time, I mean, this is a while ago, but at the time, did you feel like it was like you were in over your head? Or, I mean, from my understanding of how you, I guess, grew in the sport, I would say you weren't in over your head, but did you feel that way back then?
No, and I think my dad would say, like, it kind of was a perfect fit. I don't think not that I was that good. I think everybody was just kind of on the same level. So I kind of fit right in, and I'm kind of glad he did, because I can say I never played t-ball. Like, I went right into softball.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And back when we played, because I feel like Little League's not really a thing nowadays, but this is at the Little League level.
Yeah.
And then we eventually made our way over to travel ball,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yes, so
when did that happen?
Started with the Lady Cobras when I was 8. My dad worked in Queens. He's a firefighter, so he knew a lot of guys kind of in Queens. So Lady Cobras was more of a Queens-based team.
Yes.
So when I was 8, one of his friends, mentioned it. And again, but I'm 8, and it's 10U. There was no like 8U back then.
No.
So he signed me up for the 10U Lady Cobras. I played with them for I think a year. And then he started to talk to Angel and TLI, but that didn't happen until I was 10.
Okay.
So I was 1 year on the Cobras, and then I transitioned over.
Nice. For the TLI transition, you pretty much stayed at TLI from there on out.
Yeah.
I think you got to experience a lot of high competitive ball there.
Yeah.
That definitely accelerated your softball growth, I would say.
Yeah.
And going back to what I said earlier, the slapping, where does that fall into the picture? Were you a natural lefty?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Go for it.
Yeah, so hitting-wise, I always hit lefty. Throwing, I was always righty. And it's funny because I said to my dad, I'm like, you're not lefty. Nobody's lefty. How am I lefty? And he's like, you just picked up the bat that way, and I wasn't going to change it. So,
Fair
all
enough.
the pictures of me with my pink helmet when I'm 5.
Yeah.
Lefty.
Okay, cool.
And then, so finally, once I was on TLI, I guess Angel saw that I'm lefty and I'm quick.
Yeah.
So he was the first one to introduce slapping to me and kind of took off from there.
Yeah. Do you remember when you first started learning slapping, and how did that feel? Was it like so bizarre, like what am I doing? Or did you actually get very comfortable with it pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think it helped already being lefty. So it wasn't that foreign to me. Like I had the swing down.
Yes.
It was more just the footwork, and I'm like, all right, this isn't so bad. And in the beginning, when I was younger, I think I swung away a lot.
Yeah.
Just because I had a good swing and it worked for me. And then I think more as I got older, I started to really get into the slapping and incorporate that a lot more. I think because I was a natural lefty, I think it came easier to me then. I tell all my girls that have turned around, I'm like, I give you so much credit because I can't swing right.
Yeah, I could never do that. Yeah. I always like every other softball player who's a righty or a lefty, we always play around with like our slapping
oh my
ability
God.
at practice, and I give a lot of kudos as well to anyone that either was natural when slapping or that was a righty that went to a slapper, because it is tough. It's not natural to be hitting while moving, while trying to get down the base. Like, there's a lot going on.
The ball's moving at you. I told my girls, I'm like, you're moving at a moving ball, and then you're trying to run. Like, there's a lot of moving components. So it's hard. Yeah, it's very hard. But it truly is. I think it pays off in the sport if you can accomplish that, if you're the right fit for that. From your perspective, like, what would be the criteria for someone that might be teetering the edge of like, do I try to learn to slap? Do I not? Yeah. What does that look like? I guess speed is number one, and that's kind of something I talk to the girls about that are like, can I slap? Should I slap? And I never want to tell anybody no, because you never know. Like, I wasn't always really fast. It kind of developed as I played. Right. So had I, someone told me no because you get down the line in 3 flat, but then in college, so fair. They have to be quick, right? Yes. That's like the key. If you're really slow down the line, I'd be like, listen, and you're a power hitter, not worth it. Right. So, and I also tell them too, keep practicing your swing. Like, don't just give up on that and then just give all into slapping. Like, if you swing lefty and you have a good swing, keep that, keep working on that, and let's try slapping and let's see. Like, you're gonna struggle with it at first. It's not natural, like you said. It's you're moving at the ball, and girls then get frustrated and don't want to do it because they're like, oh, well, I can hit good from left side. Why do I want to? Now I'm striking out because I'm slapping. Yeah. But again, you try it a couple times, you work at it, and you're like, oh, this, and you get that little like moment of success, and then you're like, then the floodgates open. I was gonna say, then you're itching for more. Right. Yeah. Right. That's funny that you say to continue to like work on your normal swings, because Kaz I always hear him tell players, if you want to learn how to slap, like his best advice is we need to build your natural lefty swing first, before we can really start to learn the slapping swing. Yeah. So that's a really good tidbit of advice, I think, for anyone out there that is looking to potentially learn it or has questioned whether they should start learning. Right. One, maybe like the speed, right? Agility, quickness. Like we need to move on the base paths. We're only slapping because it's going to give us a further advantage. Right. And then it's foundationally have that strong normal base of a swing of a lefty hitter, and then we're going to start to incorporate the slapping techniques. Right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I remember Francesca obviously tells me a lot about your TLI days and all the funny stories. She mentioned a story when she was on the podcast last. I think she mentioned this. Yeah, Colorado. Colorado, yes. I would love to hear your take on some of your Colorado adventures, because a lot of times, Long Island girls, we stay in Northeast. If anything, we travel down south for tournaments. Not many of us truly go out west. So what does that take for you? Yeah, that was like my first really big travel tournament with TLI, because like they would go to Florida in the fall. But because I went to Kellenberg, I was like, I'm not missing school. And so I never went down to Florida. I did all the local ones, but Colorado was like the first really big name tournament. Yeah. So there were some legit teams, as Fran mentioned. My hitting wasn't the best. So, I struggled a bit hitting, and I'm sure that's why Fran was in center field. But it was, it was a little bit like, it was frustrating. And that was like one of the first times that I, was like, I'm kind of used to playing a lot and being on the field, and now like having this different role, I'm like, this is tough, but okay, Fran's in center field, let me do the best I can. You never know when a coach is watching, so they see you on the bench, okay, they're still watching you. So and I don't remember if I was committed at the time or not. Right. And I knew there were big name coaches there, and they weren't really there to watch this team from Long Island. But again, you never know who's there and who's watching and who talks to who coach-wise. I was just going to say, all the coaches know each other. Right. It's crazy how it's like, oh, I saw the girl that you've been talking about with me. Right. She was at the other field, and I was just watching her for you. It's crazy. Right. Yeah. So if they see you just like, moping, sitting on the bench because you're sitting, well, that gets back to people. Or versus if, they see you sitting and trying to engage and doing your role. Like, everybody has a role, whether you're on the field, whether you're on the bench, or whatever your role is, it's important. Yeah. It's a team. It's a team sport, and everybody has something to give. Right. So that's where I kind of was just like, all right, this is going to be my role for this, and let me do the best I can to try and help Fran,
Yeah.
give her where to play, this, that, and
I love that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and here we are today. We made it through.
Right, right. We played in
Francesca
college,
survived. Yeah.
Her coach didn't, take away her scholarship
Yeah,
because
yeah,
she
yeah.
missed the ball in center field.
Exactly. That's awesome. I want to dive in a little bit more to what you said about like knowing your role almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned know your role in college. It was never a thing that really crossed my mind or a coach told me growing up for softball.
Mm-hmm.
It really was honed in at the college level. And I think when I now coach with all the players I have, I try my best to share that with them. So it's kind of like I'm catching them earlier on in their journey. And for me, like learning my role, it's like you said, I'm not playing right now, but what can I do to still help my team out? Whether that's calling out the runner going on the bases, whether that's, oh, I noticed the girl kept fouling this pitch off. Like, hey, my teammate in left field, like move over just a little bit more. Like you're an extra set of eyes and ears on the team, and I think that helps any player out a lot. And the coach actually sees that, and they'll recognize that you're helping out your teammates while being on the bench, and it's truly crazy how much that could actually help you out as like your team dynamic.
100%.
I love that a lot. Any other maybe impactful moments growing up that you could like think back to, whether travel, Little League, high school? I didn't know you too well in high school. I don't know if there was any moments there, but I know travel ball, at least from Francesca's experience, was such a big impact for that kind of set the stage up for her college experience.
Yeah. High school actually for me had a pretty big,
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff in high school. So I went to Kellenberg. They don't really move you up. It's not your typical like, oh, you're really good in ninth grade, you're playing varsity. It was like, no, you're going to play JV and maybe sophomore year if you're lucky, or if they need a player, they'll pull you up. So my freshman year I was on JV. Third game into the season, I got hurt. I dislocated my shoulder.
No way. Oh my God.
On the field, like to the
Bad?
hospital. Oh yeah. So the whole shebang.
Oh no.
Missed my entire freshman season.
That
We ended
really
up-
hurts my heart for
Yeah.
you. Oh
This
my
was
God.
like my first major injury. Like
Yeah.
I never really had anything like it before. So I'm like, I'm so bummed. I'm at this new school. So excited to finally, like my Catholic elementary school didn't have a softball team. So outside of Little League and travel, this was like the first school team I got to be on. Awesome group of girls, like awesome coaches. We actually won the championship
Title?
that year.
Nice,
like
nice.
the JV championship.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. So now my sophomore year rolls around. I haven't played. I played 3 games for Kellenberg, and Mr. Conrad calls me into his office and asks if I want to be brought up to varsity to play second base.
Okay.
Now, in my mind, when I was on TLI, at this point, I really had only played like short, pitched a little bit. Maybe people don't know I was a pitcher. I was. Outfield didn't really come till college. Again, I knew because I was fast, I would probably, I dabbled in it in travel ball, but shortstop was really my main thing, and I'm like, second base, I'm like, I don't like that side of the field.
You're like, that's weird. I don't want to be there.
Right. But I was like, to play on varsity and I'm going to play, like you need a second baseman, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So played my sophomore year on varsity.
Yeah.
I want to say we went undefeated that year, won the first state championship in, I don't know if it was the first ever. Oh, this is bad of me. I should know.
It's okay. We'll fact check it, and I'll put a little like confirmation on the screen.
Thank you. But yeah, the first one in at least a while.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think we were undefeated that year, and it was just incredible.
Electric. I
Oh
bet.
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So then it kind of started this like dynasty of Kellenberg softball. Okay, now fast forward, we're going into my junior year.
Yeah.
Summer, I go surfing for the first and last time.
Oh no. Oh no. I don't know. I don't really want to think. I want to hear this.
Dislocated my shoulder a second time.
Oh my God.
And now I'm like, they toyed with the idea of surgery when it first happened.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like, you're young, there's a really good chance of it happening again.
Is this
but
your throwing shoulder or your
no,
other shoulder?
thank God it's my other shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily it's my other shoulder.
Yeah.
So, right. So now I'm like, immediately, as soon as it happened, I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done.
To the hospital again. You know, it's not like it's out and it's back in. It's out.
It's hanging out there.
It's out. So I'm like, I think I scheduled my surgery for the next week because I'm like, all right, 6 months, figure, right? If I have it in September, I should be back for March.
Yeah.
So I did the surgery. I played basketball at the time too, and I was like, basketball's out this season.
Yeah,
And again, it
yeah.
wasn't really I'm like, now it's junior year.
I was about to
wanna
say junior
play,
year.
right?
That's your pivotal time to like
Right,
get it
right.
going.
I want to play softball in college, so let's do the surgery.
Yeah.
Let's get this all figured out. So I had the surgery. I March 1st. That's when I was cleared.
Yeah.
Played. Luckily, all was good. Never
Okay,
had any
okay.
issues. But now, that summer definitely mentally plays a big factor in it because I was nervous. Luckily, it wasn't my throwing arm, but sliding. I was afraid because that's how I did it the first time. I was
Yeah.
sliding. So I worked a lot in PT, and my PT at the time was now someone I work with. She's like a mentor to
full
me.
circle.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
We'll
she's
get
kind of the
into
reason
that,
why I'm
yeah.
in the field.
Okay.
But so she
That's awesome.
would come down to practices, work on sliding with me and stuff, and got back, played my junior year. We won the state championship again.
Nice.
We did not go undefeated. That was, I think we had a 50-game win streak snapped. And
Yeah.
that was gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
But again, nobody's perfect. And it was kind of okay, a loss is one game. It's not the end of the,
Yeah.
you had to work that year. And I give a lot of credit to our pitcher, Sabrina DeAngelo. She pitched 3 games in 2 days. And
Yeah.
I don't know
Lights
how
out.
that, yeah. Incredible. Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. So then recruiting-wise,
Yeah.
I actually never wanted to go to Adelphi. It was too close to home.
Right. Yeah. For anyone that's not a Long Islander, Kellenberg, Nassau County. Adelphi, Nassau County.
Yeah, but Adelphi, 5 minutes from my house.
Yeah. Even closer.
My high school was farther than my college was to my house.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to do PT. So that was
Yeah.
kind of I had to find schools that had that. And I was like, do I want to play D1, D2, D3?
Yes.
I didn't really want to go D3. I had looked at a bunch of D1 schools, Delaware has an incredible PT program. But a lot of these coaches, D1, they tell you either you can't do, a science major, especially nursing or PT.
While being a
or,
sport,
right.
yeah.
Or they say it's really, really hard. And I'm like, well, do I want that also?
Yeah.
So then now I'm kind of all right, I want to do PT, I want to go D2.
Yeah.
So my pool of options are pretty narrow.
Yeah, it really shrunk down from there.
Right. And
Yeah.
again, I wasn't when I was younger, I was I want to go to Florida. But again, that was not a reality for me as I
Yes.
was looking. So it was more Northeastern schools.
Yeah.
And Adelphi just I've gone to the Adelphi camp since I was 7. I've been around the school since forever.
Yeah.
And they actually came down to, it was my first TLI practice after my shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
And they came down to see another girl from upstate New York, Megan Lewis, who ended
Yeah.
up being with me at Adelphi.
Oh, nice.
They came down to see her, and my dad had said to Angel, well, let them know Krista's interested
Yeah.
too, because again, at that time I wasn't committed, and I'm
Yeah.
a junior, and
Had they have a good PT program? Yeah.
right. So
let's see if it works out.
Yeah. So they came down to see Megan, and then that kind of got the ball rolling with me being a lot more interested in there.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a pause.
And that was a lot.
No, that was a lot, and I love hearing all of that. I love that you shared a little bit about the reality of your recruiting, right? I had dreams to go to Florida,
Yeah.
like every other
Yeah.
girl does.
Right.
And then it's okay, well now I'm actually a junior in high school. I need to figure out for real, what's the reality of,
Right,
of
right.
my abilities, of what I'm looking for in the college,
Right.
location, education, strength of program, or strength of commitment to be a student athlete.
Right.
These are all factors that go into it. Francesca and I started the same way. We looked at colleges that mainly had the type of program we wanted to study.
Right.
And I think that's a really easy pinpoint down for any girls out there that are trying to figure out where they want to go to college.
Right. Even if you don't know
yeah.
what you want to do, go somewhere that has a lot of options. Don't just go
yes.
for a coach or,
Yes.
because softball, I think Fran talked about it.
Yeah.
She had 3 coaches? Or
Yeah.
there's a lot of turnover.
Yes.
So, you don't just want to commit for a coach.
Yes.
Like you said, you have to like the school. They need to have what you like.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately what's going to, softball's only taking me so far.
Yeah, exactly. And also, as you kind of learned in high school, though, if you get that injury in college, and for some reason, I never wish this upon anyone, but if you cannot play no more,
Right.
you really have to fall back on the school, the academics that you're learning about in your classes, and then even the extracurriculars, even the location. Do you still want
Right.
to be that far away from home?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into that college decision.
Yeah.
One last thing with high school. When the team was at its peak
Yeah.
of playing. So sophomore year, you were second base. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't really want to do that, but I kind of want to do that. Did you continue to stay at second base for high school all
Yeah.
those years after?
Yeah. So once I think it was after my freshman year, once I got hurt, pitching kind of,
Oh yeah.
I never kind of went back. I actually think I do have one varsity win.
Oh no way!
I do. St.
That
Mary's.
is awesome.
So I'm trying to remember. It might have been after my shoulder surgery that
Yeah.
I didn't go back.
Okay.
But I just took on this role of more of the second baseman and loved it. And
Yeah.
we had, each year we kind of had like one or two pitchers that really like got us through. And
Yeah,
we did,
yeah, yeah.
my sophomore year, we definitely had, I think we had 3 in the rotation. My junior year was mainly Sabrina, and then my senior year was actually a girl who was a junior, Kat Perkowski.
Okay.
And, she was incredible. She pitched every game, and, and it was super, it was great. Everybody just kind of had their, we go back to our role.
Circles,
Everybody
all circles.
Yeah, everybody had their spot, and it was such, and I always
Yeah.
say this because everyone's like, well, what was your favorite year in high
Yeah,
school?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
what was the most memorable? I'm like, each team in high school was so different. Even
can't
though
compare.
Even though sophomore, junior, and senior year we won states, right?
Yeah.
We had incredible runs all 3 years. Each team was so different, and I really can't say oh, this was my favorite team or this or that was my favorite year because I could say my senior year was awesome because to win it a third time, your senior year, I feel like that year we probably had to work for it a lot. Same with junior, and again different team, different dynamic, but all so incredible, all so amazing, Yeah.
No, that's and I even think about myself. I agree with high school. My high school wasn't that much of a true experience, in terms of winning year after year like you had.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's hard to compare the years. But even in college,
Oh yeah.
it's so hard to compare the years or to say which one your favorite one really was.
Yeah.
So I resonate a lot with that.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you really don't know what to expect each year.
Right.
You might have had a killer season last year, whether that's a travel ball team, a high school team, a college team, and then all of a sudden, it's a completely different year.
Right.
And we weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
So you really can't mentally set expectations.
Right, based on the last season.
Yeah.
It's just okay, new team, new
can't.
season. Let's, here's our goal, maybe, right?
Yeah,
And
but
then-
let's level set again. What do we want to accomplish this season? Let's get on the same page and we
Right.
build from there.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I guess let's go to college.
Okay.
So we committed. When did the commitment happen? And so it was junior year summer. Adelphi really started to
I
pin you
think-
down, or
It might have been. I mean, I
in
guess
the
if I
timeline,
got,
I guess.
I guess if I got cleared to play in March,
Yeah.
it was because we were in Baseball Plus, so I don't
Yeah,
remember if
yeah.
it was just an odd day we were inside and it was summertime,
Yeah.
or if it was early March and we were still
Right.
inside. So probably around spring.
Spring junior year.
I think
Okay.
that's
yeah,
when,
that's fair.
That's when I really started to look and visit the school and
Yeah.
and all that stuff. I think I truly committed. I want to say maybe fall of my senior year or summer.
Yeah, which is to this day standard for D2 commitments.
Yeah.
I committed
Yeah.
fall my senior year for Bentley, and I didn't get on. I didn't truly get on my coach's radar until that summer.
Yeah.
Going into my senior year,
Right.
and again, that's very common for our
Yeah.
our division.
Right, and people may be like, "Oh my God, I'm a senior. This is late."
Yeah.
But everybody's journey is different.
Yes.
Like you said, it's common for D1. I mean D2.
Yeah.
D1. I guess they're definitely a little earlier.
Yeah.
They fill the classes, but
Yeah,
know.
I love that you said everyone's on a different journey because
Yeah.
we really are. I had girls committing to Bentley, my class, spring of their senior year, which is in theory you would think very late. It's just uncommon.
right,
and it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so committed your commitment. Did you feel relieved and you were or excited?
Yeah.
How did you feel when that happened?
So it's funny. I remember calling Coach Nasty at the time.
Yeah.
And I think I had left her a voicemail. I had written down what I'm gonna write. But then
You're
it goes,
so nervous.
But then it goes to voicemail. I'm like, oh my God, now what do I say? So I leave her a voicemail, and she calls me back from practice, and I'm like, what? And she now is passing the phone around. So I knew a couple girls on the
that
team,
is
and she's
hysterical.
passing the phone to girls on the team,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
thought was really cool.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
congrats, we're so excited.
Oh, I
So
love that. Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, and then you can kind of sit back, relax, senior year.
right.
You obviously still have to work hard, but you
Right.
have a different looseness to your play,
Right.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
So we get to college. If you don't mind me asking, how did that transition feel for you? A lot of people are very hesitant with even trying to commit or thinking to yourself, should I commit to play softball in college? I don't know what to expect. Is it truly drastically different? Is it not? Like, what was that transition like for you?
So I definitely think it helped knowing a couple girls on the team. So, you know, I lived with girls on the team as a freshman. I was pretty good independent. Like, being away wasn't a thing for me. Not that I was away, but I felt like it. You know, I'm living on campus. It's not like I'm going home all the time. You know, the hardest thing was, okay, I'm not, you know, on this set schedule. Well, different schedule. Like, I'm not getting up going to school from like 7 to 3. It's, you know, your classes are all over now. Practice is like 4 hours. You have a lift, you know, and it's like, whoa, okay. It was definitely in the beginning like, whoa. Yeah. This is way different. This is a lot. Not in a bad way, but just like really new and totally different.
A new environment to get accustomed to and to like, I remember for me, I agree, like class, practice, class, lifts, class. And then it's like, okay, well, where do I eat in there? Where do I like actually study in there? Like it's trying to understand your schedule of like what's needed for you, like where you have to actually be at, whether that's class or practice. And then it's like, okay, where do I fit in normal, like human stuff, my social life, and just like even like learning more about like the new environment I'm in. Because as a freshman, you're also just trying to meet as many people as you can. See the school a bit more, go to the basketball game at night.
And I think living with, like, I lived with upperclassmen. So as a freshman, I lived with a sophomore and 2 seniors.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that's super uncommon, but at least for my experience, it's very uncommon. Okay.
Yeah, I think that, like, living with someone a year above you is not uncommon, but to live with seniors was definitely like, even my parents were like, you're living with the seniors. But it was great. I mean, that was...
Were they softball girls?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was all, the 4 of us were all on the softball team. And I think that also really helped. Like, not even the fact that they were seniors, but just living with girls on the team helps to get you over that huge transition and stuff. And
also helps, like, almost hold you guys accountable. It's like, okay, we got to go to practice.
Everybody's doing it. You know, again, it could be a good and a bad thing, right? Because you're with these people all the time. You're not getting a break from them because now you're going back to your room with them. But I did it all 4 years. And I think that's kind of the tradition that they have kept. Is when an incoming freshman is in, you try to take at least one of them in, because this way, again, you help that transition go a little bit smoother.
It's a nice thing to have in terms of like a tradition for the team. But I agree, like sometimes it's nice to just like get away from softball and like even like your team member. You love your team members, but like enough's enough sometimes. Like I need to just like have some alone time. It's a delicate balance that you're trying to figure out. Yeah, fair. Okay, so Adelphi D2. I understand the schedule a bit better, but like our fall, it's still a very busy, healthy fall schedule. Because D3, you really can only play 1 day a year. For D2, I practiced 5 days a week. I'm sure you did too. We had a set amount of hours to do practices a week, but it's still very demanding. And that's the fall. And then like a small winter is like November, December, finals. It's trying to figure out like, all right, I'm getting ready to like leave for the semester. And then your first real season happens. How did that feel for you? Was it like, oh my God, or were you like really pumped and like really eager just to get on the field?
I think both. And more of the oh my God, because we were opening our season in California.
Wow. Okay.
Against California teams. Not like going to California playing, you know, a New York or a local team. It was like, no, we had 5 doubleheaders against like legit California teams who have probably been playing games outside on dirt since the beginning of February, and we haven't touched dirt until we go there.
Wow.
So, so that's the first time they actually went to California. Normally, they would do Florida.
Okay.
So that was like, whoa. But like really cool. We got our heads kicked in. We did go 0-10. They were not blowout games. They were definitely like good games, but there was definitely a difference in like, we were seeing dirt for the first time. And you've been playing for
weeks on end. No, I could totally resonate with that. That's
and I was
fair.
Definitely nervous because now I had done the transition from infield to outfield, which we didn't really go over, but that happened pretty quickly when I got
when you first got to college. So when you committed, that's a great point. When you committed, was there ever talks in terms of like positioning? Because you pretty much were an infielder mostly.
They really only saw me play. I mean, unless, you know, they did come to some travel games, but they did come to high school games. And it was second base, always second base. You know, if they did come to travel games, they probably mainly, again, saw me play. Because when I was with, like, Angel and Nick,
Yeah.
probably when I was with Nick and Fran in
Yeah.
Colorado, that's more when I really was, like, more outfield.
Yeah.
But not, like, truly outfield. So even when I first got to Adelphi and our fall games, I remember we were playing Stony Brook at, I think, CW Post.
Okay. Yeah.
Had a fall tournament,
Yeah.
and it was like Post, us, Stony Brook, and I remember playing second base, and I was just like against like Stony Brook, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
And they're Stony Brook's huge.
and I'm this big.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm like, I don't mind if you put me in the outfield.
Yeah.
So I think I had like again in the fall they did a lot of like rotating. putting
That's
people here,
standard.
there.
Yeah. They play you guys around, see who
Right.
works well where,
Right.
who's
So
hitting.
I think
yeah.
right, and then I played a couple innings at second, went in the outfield, and I kind of started to fall in love with the outfield.
love
then.
that. Yeah.
Yes. So then I think the coaches saw like I had a lot of potential to be a good outfielder because I
Yeah.
had the speed. And then it's not an easy transition. That's why now I love seeing girls
Yeah.
that like truly are like I'm an outfielder and I'm learning it because like
Yeah.
getting behind the ball, coming through the ball.
Right.
I had never heard of that
No,
until college, and I don't
exactly.
think I truly like got that concept down until like my sophomore year. So. Yeah, so the transition happened very quickly,
Okay.
and I'm glad it did.
Yes.
I ended up loving the outfield, and
Yeah.
wouldn't want to play on the
No, no.
Like,
I
I'm
love
good.
that for you. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
because it's just a little bit harder, a little bit faster ball in the infield at
Yes.
the college level.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And you have a lot
fair enough.
to. Not that the outfield doesn't have to like pay attention to more, but you have
Right.
shifts and
Yes, yes.
coverages and all different things going on. So it's a lot to play the infield in college. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And the outfield too. You're truly that last line of defense, and I don't think. As you're younger, no one's hitting the ball out there as much. But in college, you're really getting a lot of like you might get one ball a game, but that
Yeah.
ball could be like the game winning.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
you've
either
gotta
you're
be-
laying out and making that catch, or that girl is scoring. Yeah.
Right.
I
So
hear
you
ya.
have to be like, I might not get every ball hit to me, but I have to be ready when it is.
Yeah, and
So-
it's also the outfield's that last line of defense.
Right.
So if you get past you, like
Yeah.
if you get past the infield, oh okay, my left fielder's got it.
Right,
like
right.
bring it on in.
Right.
Yeah.
If it gets past you, you're like, I'm running.
I just gotta get going. Yeah.
So now we go
Okay.
to California, and I pretty much have established I'm an outfielder.
Okay,
at this
cool.
Point. Yeah. So they moved us around, right, center,
Yeah.
left. I kind of played it all.
Yeah.
Loved it again.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you bringing up the transition because
Yeah.
that's I think a lot of girls do that. There's a girl that is at one of the SUNY schools right now. She played for Nitro. She went there as an outfielder, and this year we just saw her during her winter break, and they said, well, she told us, my coach wants me to start working in at first base. So now she's actually making the transition from outfield to infield.
Okay.
So it's not that it might be uncommon to do outfield and infield, but it's
Yeah.
very common that you go into college thinking you're going to play one position.
Right.
And then you're going in there and you're like, no, we want you to go somewhere else.
Right, and that's kind of what I try to tell all the girls
Yeah.
that like me and my dad coach 10U now, so
Yeah.
they're super young.
Oh my
But
God, we
even-
have to get into that a little bit more. Yeah.
But anybody I come across that like wants softball advice, I'm like, if somebody asks you where do you play, tell them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be on the field,
Yeah.
you have a better chance. If you say I could, you could say, I played short, third, whatever,
Right.
but I can play anywhere.
Yeah.
That is like a
Wherever
coach-
you want me to play.
Right. Right.
It's funny.
So
My freshman year, you guys went to California your freshman year, which
Yeah.
you said was a bit different than your Florida trip. So we went to Florida every year, and that's what most, I think, Division II schools
Yeah.
would do. You have like 6 days of doubleheaders back to back, and that's your week-long spring break. But when we went down, basically my catcher got sick. We needed another catcher. So myself and this other girl were like tested out to catch. And I innocently, like at practice one day, we were on the football turf because it's so cold out, like it snowed, like it's the only place we can get outdoor time. You know how it is. The pitchers and catchers were off on the side working, and like I'm trying to learn how to block the ball, which is
good luck.
good luck. Yeah, it was rough. But I innocently told the pitching coach, I just want to play. And that's all I said. So I'm like, I'm fine to try this out. And all of a sudden, at the end of practice, I get called out in front of the entire team. Because that's like, my coach is like, that's the mentality you need to have. But I was just like, I wasn't saying that to get on your good side.
Right.
But
You genuinely meant it.
Yeah, I genuinely meant it. But as you said, that's what most coaches want to hear, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like that team versus I mentality of
Right.
I'm just here to help the team succeed. And if
Right.
you think I can do that better fit elsewhere,
Yeah.
all right, let's try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Any memorable, like I said, 4 years of college softball is a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like go into every single season, but is there any like key moments of time, whether that was like good or bad moments, that really like transformed like your college experience?
Definitely freshman year we actually played at Oklahoma.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I did not know that. That is awesome.
So the D2 World Series, our World Series, is usually Salem, Virginia, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Like every year. That's
we never went, so I'm not gonna lie. It never really crossed my mind.
So, but I don't know for what reason that year they made it Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And again, when I go into the season, or when we went into the season, our goal was not go to the World Series.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't done that since, I don't think, like the 80s at
Yeah.
Adelphi. So we're just like, all right, we opened the season 0-10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tough.
Right. We're like, all right, not great, but okay, we're learning.
And we got to work
and
hard
it's
now.
different in softball. You play so many games that 10 losses doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
So, they look at strength of schedule and a lot of factors go into it. So we come home and we're doing pretty well. Like usually Adelphi has a very good team on the East Coast.
Yes.
So, we're going through. We actually lost the NE10s that year.
Okay. Our division,
to SNU, Southern New Hampshire.
Yes.
Very good team.
They were a very good team.
Very good team. And now, who are we playing to go to Oklahoma but SNU?
No way.
Yeah,
okay.
at SNU.
Oh, home field advantage. And their field, they had a nice complex. I actually liked it a lot. But they're a really, really big athletic school. Like they bring in a lot of talent from that area up there. So they're a good competition.
Yes. So we end up beating them, and now we're
Nice.
going to Oklahoma. Like, I think I'm on top of the world at this point because not only like you're going to the World Series, but now I'm playing it where I've been watching on TV since I was 10, maybe younger. It was incredible. It was probably one of the coolest things.
That's awesome.
And then we won a game there.
Yeah,
which,
you're like, oh my
again,
God.
like the team from the East Coast gets the rap as like they're not as good as the South or the West, and to go in and win a game, it's like, okay, this team can hold their own. They're not just gonna be an easy win.
Did you feel the pitching was like even harder to like hit against, or did you feel like the other team like was just like so far above like all the teams that you saw there? Okay.
Some teams, like there was definitely that freshman year a team from North Georgia, and I think, oh my God, that pitcher.
Insane.
Yeah. There were some teams that were definitely like, okay, wow. They had, girls 1 through 9 could put the ball over the fence.
Right.
Could, so there were definitely teams like that.
But there was also like teams that you guys were like, oh, okay,
like,
we can still do this.
I think actually one of the teams that we played in California was there. So it was funny
Yeah.
that we're like, look where we both are now.
Yeah, it's like, all right. And
we started 0-10 and we're still here.
Yeah.
So,
and also it's, if you guys, I don't know if you played them, but when you first probably got there, you were like, oh, I kind of like, we're itching now to play them again.
Yeah.
It kind of brings another edge to you guys.
Yeah. So that was definitely a really, really awesome experience. So cool.
Yeah.
And then we actually went back to the World Series my sophomore year.
Nice.
Which was also
incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
To go back to back. And again, normally it's in Salem. Well, this year happened to be, they do a festival year. I think it's every 4 years. They will host women's softball, women's lacrosse.
Together?
Tennis. And I want to say another sport. So it's like 4 sports, and you're all in the same hotel, all at a complex. So this school in Colorado had built this like $22 million complex a couple of years back to host this festival year.
Yeah.
And that year, our women's lacrosse team also went to their Final Four.
Oh my God, that is even more exciting. So now we have 2 Adelphi teams in the same location and the same like pool of play almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really cool. We got to go to like the Broncos Stadium and like have a dinner there with like our lacrosse team, with like all the teams. So it was really cool to not only interact with teams in your sport, but teams in other sports.
And you're friends with these girls like at school. So now you're like, oh.
Yeah,
like,
well, we had a whole cheering squad at like one of our night games. Meanwhile, like, yes, parents were there and stuff, but like,
that's incredible.
We had a whole team there.
Yes.
And we did the same thing for them when they were playing.
That so
it was
much.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you had, definitely an incredible college experience.
Yeah, had a very good college experience for sure. We definitely had a lot of success.
Yes, we played each other.
No, we played you at your field.
Yes, well.
Your 500-foot fence field.
I was just going to say, my one memory, because you guys beat us both times, as you should. For anyone that doesn't know, Bentley used to have 240-foot fences. And that's like a baseball field. Like, we had a deep outfield.
Yeah, we pulled up and I was like, someone get the tape measure.
Oh, you did that?
Probably.
Well, so
not that they were doing it for me. I was not putting one out.
All I remember, because my coach got pissed. She was like, who is this team coming in, measuring you guys literally went from second base to probably like 220, the normal outfield depth.
Yeah.
And you kind of like were like looking around, like trying to understand normal depth of play.
Well, because also as an outfielder, I'm like, this is a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. I think that's the one advantage of us having the 240-foot fences. It's like we actually knew how to cover a deep outfield.
Right,
so I give kudos a lot to my outfielders. They worked hard out there. And like anyone that ever played at our field was like, holy crap, like that's a deep outfield.
Yeah.
But I also remember your like 3-4 hitter. She hit one over the fence, like over the road. Like it was like past the road. I'm like, nice. Like I always knew Adelphi was a good team, and like obviously playing against you guys, it was so much fun. But the one memory I have is that tape measure coming out, and you guys measured it. And honestly, up until then, I really did not know how far that fence was. No one ever told us. We measured it. Like no one ever, I guess, thought to even measure it. I mean, I was an outfielder, so I really...
But also it's your home field. You're used to it. You don't really think twice. When you would go to these other fields, did you be like, this outfield's really tiny?
No, like it was normal. I don't know whoever decided to make the field that far to begin with. It was definitely well before my time or before my coach's time. Now we have a much normal, shorter fence, thank God. And they built up the field very nicely.
Nice.
But I just remember like going to other fields. We're like, okay, normal.
Right.
Like
maybe
we're not.
I can put one out.
Yeah, maybe I could actually like hit one decently and not have to like just hustle around the bases. Yeah.
That's funny.
So funny. Any last minute thing that you could think about that we didn't get to with your college experience? Because obviously I knew you, but I didn't know you like during, and I want to make sure we covered anything you were hoping to cover with that time of your life.
No, I think we talked about a lot of like big important things. I think one thing that's definitely gotten a lot more attention is the mental aspect of the game, which I love, because softball and baseball are such like mental games that, you know, when we were playing, I feel like wasn't really talked about, and even just like student athletes' mental health wasn't something that was really a big deal. Right. You know, I didn't. Senior year, it was tough. You know, I had my struggles and stuff, and you know, I almost didn't want to play.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just was going through it, and was like, you know, I don't know. I don't know, and I had a lot going on with trying to get into physical therapy schools, and you know, again, so as you're getting older in college, you're starting to like if you have to go to grad school or you need to apply to jobs, like there's other things that start to creep in. It's not just I can't focus on softball 24/7, and you know. That can take a toll on you. So I'm glad that a lot of schools are doing stuff for the student athletes' mental health, and like it's getting a lot more recognition because I think it needs to. You know, we're not just
robots that can be pushed through the runner. We
like,
are humans that have emotions and feelings and stress and anxiety.
Right. And like even, you know, major league or any professional athlete gets breaks. So, you know, like just because you're in college, you know.
You deserve a break or two.
Right.
I know.
I think that's a big part of the game, and like I said, it's getting the attention it's needing. And I hope it continues.
I'll say we definitely still have more work to do. But I think it's a start, 100%.
The conversations are there, you know, and you know, there's just been too many bad incidents with student athletes over the years. So it's like, all right, now, you know, like let's address this. It's clearly an issue. So
and it's a widespread issue.
It's all sports, all divisions, all. You know, whether you're the most successful player or not, it doesn't. It's gonna, you know,
impact you. I hear you. No, that's great. I had a tough go at it. Twice. It was like freshman year. I really questioned like, is college athletes for me? Like, and that's like a whole big thing. And then like trying to like get through a lot of like the mental blocks I had. Like it's when I was struggling with my performance, like sophomore, junior year. It really takes a toll on you. And then like you have every other stress in the world on like your coaches are on top of you. Really hounding you. Your schoolwork has to obviously maintain as it should be. So there is a lot that goes into being a student athlete that you don't realize.
And you have to be able to perform in the classroom and on the field, you know, which is tough.
Very tough. Awesome. Well, in the last, I think, section in my head of like this podcast, you know, timeline, you finish off your college experience. Obviously, that's always great. But now it's the transition to what do I do post-grad as a normal human being. So you went to PT school. How did that go? Give me a quick summary of that.
So rewind a little bit
go for
to I I think it was fall of my senior year. So I had to submit all my PT school applications, which it's hard to get into.
Yeah.
And now not only it's like, hey, you're accepted. No, you have to go on an interview.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes I had to be like, hey, I might be late to practice because I have to go. There's no, can I move my interview? It's here's the interview day. You have to be there.
Yeah.
So I remember me and my dad, I had my interview for Stony Brook and
Okay.
NYU on the same day.
Wow.
Stony Brook now, I had to go to the Southampton campus. So we drove from Southampton to the city
Oh my God.
on the same day for an interview.
Like 4 hours long? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, so God bless my dad.
Yeah.
He's done it all for me, softball, everything.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward, I get into NYIT.
Yeah.
They were the closest one to my house. I kind of knew for grad school I wanted to live home. I just wanted
Yeah.
to be home, and because I was going to be studying all the time. So I didn't need to be away. I wanted to come home to cooked meals. you know?
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
So I get my seat at NYIT, and you start anatomy in the summer, May to be
Oh.
exact.
Okay.
I graduate in May.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is there is no break there for
Yeah,
you.
so my senior year, had we gone to the World Series, I
Oh,
would have
yes.
had we didn't, but
Yeah.
had we gone, I would have had a very tough decision to make because it would have been the same week I started anatomy. And I don't really, it's in PT school's not like, yeah, you can miss a class here and there.
Yeah.
No. So I'm glad that decision didn't have to be made, although, it stunk not
Yeah,
continuing
of
softball.
course.
But I think I graduated on a Thursday and started PT school on Tuesday.
Wow.
So I didn't really have much time to dwell on like anything.
Yeah.
That I was like thrown
Yeah.
right into the next
Yeah.
phase of my life.
So it didn't really hit you right away, probably, because you were
No,
you were
no.
just you were very
I was-
used to everything you were
Right,
in, and
right.
now you're
I
just
was
continuing that.
PT school just consumed every ounce of me,
Yeah.
so it was like it filled the void that softball was over very quickly.
Okay, okay. Cool.
So for 3 years, I
Yeah.
eat, sleep, drank, PT school, like everything.
Textbooks and not. Yeah.
Like I didn't see the light of the sun for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
Uh-huh,
You know. But then like after, I guess now the past couple of years,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm working. I got my dream job. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't have this sport anymore.
Yeah.
So, that has been not hard to navigate because I still have my feet in it. Like I give lessons.
Right. It's not like you're so disconnected. You haven't
Right.
touched a softball in years.
I play on my slow pitch team.
Oh yeah. Our old people softball, as we like to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. And now my dad and I are coaching a 10U
Yes.
team. So,
Yes. So you're still very connected to the sport, but
Yeah.
the actual physical output that you had from the sport back
Yeah.
in the day
Yeah.
isn't there. You're not
Right.
actually going to practices and working
Right.
out.
You don't
'cause-
have a team, you
Right.
don't have this group of people that you're just with 24/7.
Yeah.
You don't have, you're not competing for something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Could
yeah.
I sign up to do a run? Sure, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
really not the
running.
same. I'm not
I did
gonna
a turkey trot and that was it. It's the
No,
extent of my running.
I agree. And it's also with myself and even Francesca, I talk about this a lot with her. Now it's also trying to fit in you into your work schedule. Okay, I do enjoy physical activity, but where can I fit this into my adult life, my
Yeah.
work-life balance, my schedule, and
Yeah.
do I even what do I even want to do for physical activity?
I know.
I know I enjoy it, but do I want to try to go to the gym and figure out a workout on my own? Do I prefer going somewhere else that will just tell me what to do?
So it's so funny you bring this
Yeah.
up because I say to everybody that I guess since in college and I always had someone, here's your workout, do this,
Yes,
that.
yes.
I think I need that. I can't. I've tried to just go to the gym and plan a workout for myself. It doesn't work.
No.
And also, in college you're used to max lift. I want to lift as
Yes.
heavy as I can. Well,
Thank you
I'm
for
not-
saying that. Yeah.
I'm not 19, 20 anymore.
Right.
My body hurts.
My body hurts.
My body
Yes.
hurts.
But also, it's why am I what am I?
Why am I
needing- Why do I
doing that
need to
for?
do that? Yeah,
Right.
I felt the same
and
way.
I think I
yes.
learned that
Yes.
over the past 2 years, I think, because
Yeah.
now we have a gym in our garage.
Yeah.
And I'll put on a Peloton strength
Yeah,
video, and
yeah.
that's kind of my workout.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it'll be okay, deadlift heavy, and here I am throwing 25s on the side, and my back hurts, and I'm
Yeah.
why do I need to do this?
Yeah.
Yes, it feels good to be strong, but at the same time, now I have to be okay, I'm doing this for a different reason.
Right,
I
right.
need to be smart about it. I can't hurt my back and then not go to work.
Yeah.
It's a totally different mindset
Mindset.
now when you're working out. And it's funny because
Yeah.
my mom and I used to go to F45, again, a
Yes.
guided workout.
Yes.
So I just feel coming from that background. And you said too, the other thing you said too is the time.
Yeah.
When do I fit it in?
Yeah.
That's the biggest excuse. And again, I work in that field and I
Yeah.
get that all day long. Well,
Yeah.
if I have time.
Yeah.
I have no excuse. It's in my garage. But I
Right.
can still say, I don't want to do it. It's so much easier. For me to
Right,
be like,
right.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I just tell myself like, and every time I work out, I feel so much better after.
After. It's always the after. Yeah, yeah,
Getting into it, the doing it, and
Yeah.
plus now I'm alone.
Yeah.
Working out. I don't have
the
people
accountability of your
cheering out.
teammates
Right.
and your coaches and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's definitely a different world to navigate and harder when you don't have someone like forcing you to do it or
Yeah.
motivating you to go.
Yeah.
Adult world is
It's
different.
a whole different world. And every single, I have to say, every single student athlete feels this way
Yeah.
post grad, not
Yeah.
just softball. But
Right.
yeah, it's so interesting. And I know maybe some of the stitch ballers out there like are current, high school or middle
Yeah.
school girls or even their parents, but I think a lot of players feel this way.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. They're like, how do I fill this void?
Yeah.
You know?
It could take a lot on your mental health
Yeah.
of like, wow, I don't have like my sport anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I was fortunate that I didn't really get like that
Yeah.
with it. Like I still had my summer team that I had been playing, like the slow pitch that
Yeah.
I've been playing on for, and they hate that I call it slow pitch because they just call it softball. And I only found that out recently, and they're like,
Can you stop calling it softball?
yeah, I'm
they're
like, but I can't say
No.
I was also playing in college, so like
Yeah.
if I said my softball team,
I
I'm
just think
referring
of-
to like
yeah,
college.
yeah,
So
yeah.
but anyway, that
No,
was
that-
a
that's
little aside.
hysterical,
They laughed.
actually,
They
yeah,
made fun of me.
yeah.
But
I love
So
that.
like I had that, and again, my work really takes up a lot, and I put a lot into that, and I get a lot out of it. So I think that also helps
Yeah.
me, and I'm still in like the physical activity world.
Yes.
So it's not like I'm just at this desk job
I know,
and
like
I'm
sitting
bored
there
all
9
day
to 5,
long.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I get to incorporate sports into my work also.
Which is nice.
Right. So I didn't really have that like massive void that some people
Yeah.
maybe go through.
Yeah.
Which is thank God.
Thank God, I know, yeah. Because
It
I
can be
don't-
tough.
I don't wish that upon anyone.
No,
But I've also like, we've all been there to some degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just like quickly, I want to hear a little bit
I know
how.
we keep saying quickly.
I
And
know.
And I'm
Well,
like 10 minutes later.
I could talk for hours.
Italian, we
I
just
know.
can talk.
I know. We could
I
talk.
don't have to be at work till 1, so we have
Okay,
time.
great. I should be at work. No, just kidding. So we, because I also with Kaz, we coach. Well, they started 10U. Now they've grown to 12U. But let me just say, and I'm sure you're going to say this too. Going back from even like before 10U, I coached like the high school level girls. That was so nice. They could make some plays. They could hit the ball hard. They could get around the bases.
Yeah.
It's like they could play the sport.
Right.
And I love my girls so much, but it is tough to
Yeah.
try to coach at
Yeah.
the 10U level.
Yeah.
So
And
how
I
does that
actually
for you?
coached middle school
Okay.
prior to. So I coached at Carl Place
Yeah.
Middle School for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
1 year we didn't win a game.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh,
man.
good Lord,
But
yeah.
yeah, and then, and then the next year, my whole team should have been on varsity. So I
Yeah.
had 2 very different teams,
Yes.
but middle school was a tough age.
Yeah.
And now coaching 10s, like you said, is tough.
So tough.
We definitely have a lot of talent on our
Yeah.
team. Like, we went undefeated in the fall.
Yeah.
But, there's little things that I'm like, yelling in my head, and part of me is like, Krista, they're 10.
Yeah. Like,
Like-
just remind yourself that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And, they're TLI, so Angel expects a lot. And,
Yeah.
so that's just like the mentality
Right.
of TLI is, they're this elite team.
Yeah.
It's not, your everyday travel team. So there are things that, like, you may expect of them that you wouldn't
Right.
necessarily expect of every 10-year-old
Right.
player.
Right.
So in that aspect, like, you want to push them a little bit. Like, but patience is a big thing.
Patience. Yes.
Ooh, patience.
Yeah. I know.
So
I get it.
my dad and I are definitely, he's good with that because, again, he's been coaching me since forever.
Yeah.
And he's seen me at all levels. He's seen girls at all levels. So he's used to that. I think for me, the last I had was college, right? So I'm coming
Yeah.
off this very high intensity,
Yes.
like, pace and like expectations of players and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, scale it back a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
They're
pull
10.
it back.
They're
Yeah,
10.
yeah, I know what you mean. I've tried my best to like learn my coaching voice, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
you went through that too, but
Still going through it.
still going through it. Yeah, it's tough. It really is, but it's also tough when like you go from like for you, middle school to 10U. For me, I was like high school girls, 12U, 10. Like you're the way you present yourself as a coach, I truly feel should change with
Yeah.
the type of player you're
Yeah,
working with.
absolutely.
But yeah, patience and just like tone it back a little bit at the younger levels
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah, and my dad is so good with that. Like I
Yeah.
said, he's been coaching forever, so
Yeah.
I think he's got that down to a science.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely still learning that and
Yeah.
learning how to coach and manage. Like I think I do well like reading the girls, and I think it's also super helpful to have a female that has played as your coach. I know growing up I had a couple here and there, and I loved it.
Yeah, you
So-
can really connect
Right.
more as a player to that
like,
coach.
I've had some great male coaches as well, but they never truly played softball. Even if they played baseball, it's different.
Yeah, it's very different.
So I think, having that female voice that went through exactly what you're going through also helps the girls.
I do agree. Yep. Nice. Well, we spoke about quite a lot.
Yeah.
Last chance. Anything you feel like you wanted to touch upon today? No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think we covered a lot of ground in the last
Yeah.
hour or so, and I'm very, very happy that we sat down.
Yeah,
And
glad you had me.
I just got to know you a lot better as a person, but a softball player, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of your stories, a lot of your experiences can resonate to everyone else out there.
Yeah.
Because they are your own experiences, and they're very unique to your life. They are so many parallels and similarities
Oh, yeah.
and shared moments of time in this sport that we can all relate to.
Yeah,
So-
I think the highs, the lows, the injuries. Maybe
Yeah.
not everybody really knew about my shoulder stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and that was a big part of my
Big
high
part.
school career, and a lot of people are going through injuries and stuff and surgery at a young age, maybe even
Yeah.
too. And it's like, when I tell people, yeah, I had shoulder surgery when I was 15, they're like, what?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, thanks again, Krista.
Thank you.
Awesome. It was great. This was awesome.